Hi, I'm Roger from Altro Technical. Just going to run through how to weld Whiterock. Obviously you'll be using our double-sided tape to start off with, which goes in between the joints, not all over the sheet, but just where the welded joints are. When you put the Whiterock together, it's not butted together. You have to have a 2mm gap. Also, you need to prepare the edges, which you use this tool or something similar, something the same as a Scarson scraper. You would then be preparing a 45-degree angle on both sides. You do that on the material before it gets put into place. Then you'll put a pin, and butt the next sheet up to it. With the welding, there are two nozzles. You have the normal nozzle that floor layers are quite comfortable with using, and you have this nozzle which also floor layers use. It's called an anti-glaze nozzle. As you can see, it's pinched together at the back as opposed to this one. That directs the heat into the joint, whereas this one puts it onto the material, and sometimes you'll get a glaze either side, whereas this one is the anti-glaze and it directs the heat into the joint. Once you've welded, we would recommend that you use a Mozart tool. The Mozart tool, you go down once, first one, then you pull the blade to the side, and then you just go down once with the blade. It's always two swipe journey, never once. With that, we would recommend that you use a little bit of candle wax on there to stop any scratching, and a little bit of anti-static down the joint just to also stop scratching. We would also recommend the Leicester Hot Jet S welder for this application.
Okay, so before we start the welding process, we need to kind of look at the angle of which way we're going to be doing the weld. You can weld this way, which, as you can see, out of comfort, it's quite easy to do. But because we need to get so close to the floor, usually on site, we're going to turn it the opposite way, and it just allows us to get closer to the floor as you get to the bottom, basically. So we'll just turn that on. Let it warm up. Okay, today we're using blue weld, just so it highlights more the weld. If you use the white weld, you won't be able to see it as clearly, so that's the main reason for using the blue. Okay, so now that the weld gun is heated up, we'll proceed with doing a bit of welding. We're going to do a straight weld, and then we're going to do a weld where we've got to join the weld with another piece, basically. So before we start the welding, we're just going to put a 45-degree angle on the top of each weld. This just allows the edge of it to heat up just enough so it bonds to the sheet quicker. Okay, we'll just do the same on this one. Okay, now with the weld, obviously the hot element is really hot, so you don't want to burn your fingers. So for health and safety purposes, if you see the natural curve of the weld rod, feed it into the bit. Okay, and then as you come down, just feed it through a few times, push it onto the sheet.
That looks good, Dave. What are you actually looking for?
What you're looking for is the wake. So if you can imagine a boat going through the water, it creates that wake effect, and this is the exact same as what you're looking for on the sheet. And basically when you can see that, you can see that it's actually created a bond between the weld and the sheet.
That looks good.
So as we get to the bottom, pull the weld away and just hold your finger on the end, just so it bonds to the bottom of the sheet. I think that one is good. Now we're going to use the Mozart knife just to run past. The first run is with the packers on the back of the blade. Okay, so what we do is we push down roughly a 45-degree angle and just run it straight up the weld to the end. Pull it away. That leaves the weld slightly proud, so then you can run through again on the second pass once the weld has actually cooled down. Now we'll do the second weld, which we're going to show you how to join. Okay, so same again, the natural curve, place that in, just gradually heat it a couple of times, feed it into the gun. Like so. And what we'll do, same again, with the packers attached to the back of the blade, we're just going to trim this off. Get your second piece of weld. Now what we're going to do is we're going to start just above where we finished the last weld. Feed it in a couple of times, let it heat up and push down onto it.
Looks like quite a lot of patience is needed when you're welding.
Yeah, definitely. It's not the quickest process, but it actually looks the best application. Okay, so now take the Mozart knife again. Go through, push down. Take that first initial top off, run it into that one, and then you can see that the weld has been connected together. What we'll do now is take the packers off the back of this one and then run through, again pushing down, creating a 45-degree angle, run to the top of the sheet. Same again on this one.
That's really good.
And there you have it.
Now, in the real world, what we'd do as well to stop any actual scratching, because as you can see on there, you can get 2 scratches up the side. But this, I know this is only a demonstration, but what we would be doing is just using a little bit of anti-static down there, and also on the blade we would just use a bit of candle wax to go down so as it slides nice and easy and you don't get 2 scratch lines down the side.
Altro pioneered the hot weld joint for Whiterock, a system that has been successful and growing for 44 years. Welding the joints offers unparalleled quality. The method is engineered to withstand temperature fluctuations common in kitchens or wet rooms, providing consistently bonding, watertight and impervious systems. Historically, welding has been specified for use in operating theatres, food productions and pharmaceuticals where germs are under more scrutiny. But welding has become a lot more popular and gone into the mainstream recently due to how pleasing it looks and how easy it is to keep clean. Hot welds create permanent leak-proof seals, preventing any debonding.
So welding is hard to do. It's hard to do because there's less tolerance in the preparation of the sheet. It's important that the walls are straight. This will enable a consistent weld. It's also important to have the room up to temperature, and also all items that you're going to be using, the weld rod, including the sheets, are up to that same temperature. In this video, we're going to show you the whole process, which will enable people to start practicing great welding techniques. Welding can be quite a satisfying process, and like all impressive finishes, the work is in the preparation.
Exactly. So having perfect walls gives you more chance of having a great finish to your weld. But if you didn't have a flat wall, what would happen if you were to decide to still go ahead and weld?
So it is important to have consistency in the walls. If you don't, then what happens is the weld looks messy. It's hard to trim the excessive weld off. It will look wavy, it will look ugly. Also, it's important to note that there will be variations with the wall. If it's uneven, there will be variations in the heat, which that can burn the sheet. It can also make the weld not stick to the sheet, or both. So it's important that the walls are straight up.
So when do you avoid welding exactly? Well, please do not try to weld if there are any differences in the surface. We do recommend that you should not weld if the wall is plus or minus 3 millimeters over 2 meters. This does rule out brick or block work. Basically, the more harsh the dip or raise in the wall, the less likely the weld will work. Do you have to set the joints out differently on a welding installation?
Yeah, setting the job out or setting the room out is very important when welding, especially in the corners. I'm just going to demonstrate something really quickly here. So this is a 50mm corner, okay? So as you can see, you push that to the corner there, there's a gap behind, it doesn't set against the wall very good, okay? So if we go to the 300mm one, which is what we kind of specify you should come away from each corner, even over a division bar, which is in the way there, you can see that the sheet actually sets against the wall quite nicely. If the walls are straight and you're happy with the setting out of the room, you can do it at 150mm, but obviously you need to make sure that you've got enough room to get in to do the welding. So yeah, we recommend 150, but obviously the further away from the corner, the better.
So you should refuse to weld anything that is not perfect. So know your rights, and if in doubt, contact Hycom or Altro and they can give you some support. Please do be careful when fully assessing your walls, exactly where you're welding the joints before accepting responsibility to weld.